Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Happy Hump Day. Mike. I love that. You know, those are good commercials. You know, when they run a commercial and years later you still remember them, the Mike the Camel, right? Right. Happy Hump Day, happy Wednesday. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And, man, things change quickly, don't they? Big day here yesterday. Completely sold out of the $20 lib special we had yesterday, late in the day. A lot of activity. If you've been living under a rock, or actually, if you've been listening to any of the talking heads on the Idiot Box, then you probably have no clue of what's really happening out there. But it really is incredible as I watch all of these places. The Dow's up today, 200 points. Gold's up, silver's up, everything's up. Even crude oil's up, even though there's crude everywhere. It's amazing. But like I said, none of that. I know they want you to think how important that is. It's not. I mean, I guess if you were going to sell everything today, it'd be important. But if you're like many people out there that, hey, I'm saving or trying to save for my future, trust me, today doesn't matter a whole heck of a lot. But man, we got a lot to talk about. We got trade stuff to talk about. We had economic data to talk about. We've got, you know, I'm going to do this today. So I want you to know, first of all, I've got another great special. This one, and I hate it when we get here. This isn't a ton. There's not a lot of these. Like you know, the last few, pretty much most of this week, I've been able to come out and say, hey, we got 100 of these, 100 of those. Remember the special earlier in the week, we had almost 100, mostly Saints. That's gone. It's gone. The Liberties, yesterday came out, we got $120 libs. Gone. Today we have a special that's another really great special, great opportunity. We've been dabbling a little bit in the graded coin market. Of course, you know when we sell graded coins, we only sell them for the ungraded price. Got a special coming for you on that. A couple of announcements. We have one customer that is going to be waiting on some 63 of the MS-63 Saints. Those will be shipping tomorrow. The MS-65 Morgans, those will be here tomorrow. So if you're waiting on 65 Morgans, I believe that they'll be both here in Phoenix and Colorado tomorrow. But wait for us to call you. Those are all on their way. The radio station in Colorado. I actually thought today I was going to tell you that for the first time in a very, very, very long time, the station was running at full power. We're not quite there yet. We're hopeful that before the weekend, we will be back at full power. We did get a boost yesterday. So last night we were doing work. We were able to raise the wattage again. We got a couple more parts that we need to get it there, but these ones we should be able to get quickly. Not to mention the fact that we are able to clean up the sound even more. So it may actually even sound a little better today, but we're not promising, but fingers crossed, by this weekend, we could have our full power and our great sound coming at you. So many great things happening up there in Colorado. And I know we got another advertiser getting ready to jump on board. Listen, get on this thing. And for those of you on the website, we made huge progress on that. And I'll have details on that before the end of the week as well. Okay, so having said all that, I'm going to tell you, one of the things, it's ridiculous. Oh, this jobs market, it's so hot. It's on fire. We got 7 million jobs out there for people. Today, I'm going to tell you where the jobs are. The largest employers by state. Yeah, I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to tell you right now, I wasn't surprised by this at all. I think a lot of you are going to be utterly disappointed, but this is it. This is our great new economy. I've got that coming up for you. We're also going to talk about a new record. A new record was set by Americans, and it's not a good one. The number of Americans now 90 days behind on their car payments. But don't worry, everything's great. There's no signs of a recession. Matter of fact, Dow's up 160 points because of it. Yeah, we got that. And so much more coming for you. By the way, another update on how much money we're all making. If I get to it, I'll get to that as well. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. Gold's up $3, $4, $1,313. Silver, $15.71 right now. And they want to tell you this is the greatest economy in the world. And we're better than Europe. I don't know if we want to brag about that. Maybe we're better than Japan. But something very interesting. Because we're becoming a country of haves, but mostly have-nots. When you get inequality the way we've seen it, listen, it's never been this bad. And it's only getting worse. So I thought it would be great. You know what? Let's stop the bull crap. Okay? Let's just cut through it. Because you know what? You sit there and you hear, if you read the headlines, you have no idea of what's really happening in America today. The central bank is bankrupting the majority of us. Well, a very few get to prosper. They'll tell you about this great unemployment rate. They'll tell you about this great jobs market. 7 million job openings, they'll say. Unemployment below 4%, they'll say. They'll even try to tell you, hey, you're earning more money. Not really. Not when you adjust for inflation, you're not. And even the earning more money part. If you take out the CEO, you're not. Go back to 1985. We are worse off. But here's the part. We're worse off by a third. I mean, this thing's getting huge now. So you think about, we've got 150 million plus people working. Okay, and working with, from greeting you at Wallmart to a brain surgeon, right? And everything in between. And when you look at all the jobs, where are they? And again, I want to give credit here because I didn't do this. I'm not smart enough to do this. But this was Visual Capitalist is the ones that did the research. And what they did is they went to every state and said to every state, and these are records, I mean, they're out there, right? You just got to know where to look, but the states will actually publish this stuff. Who's your largest employer? Right? Pretty good question. Do you know? Now, I want to say this, so let's clarify, because this is kind of important to know. We're the third most populous country in the world, okay, 320 million, 325 million. Of course, India and China in the billions. So you need a lot of manpower to keep the government up and running. This will tell you how big the government really is. In most states, either the state or federal government is the top employer. Okay, so I want to clarify that. Think about that and what's wrong with that to begin with. California employs 250,000 federal workers, not to mention all their state workers. The state of New York City workforce is the top employer. And technically, the largest employer in the country. Matter of fact, and I don't know about this part, are they the largest employer on the planet? Maybe. The U.S. Department of Defense. Right? In 8 states, there are more active military personnel than any single private employer out there. So if you exclude government, okay, so it set the government aside. So let's face it, the largest employer in the United States is the government. Big problem, right? Huge problem. And again, why I say, think about, what government really means, right? More government means less freedom. You just got to understand that. It's why we're running. Did you see they officially now say $22 trillion? It's official now. I guess the government shutdown delayed it, but it's not stopping there for the debt. I don't know if you saw that. So if you exclude government and military, a very, very disturbing trend emerges, okay? In 2 states, I found a large publicly traded company as the top employer that wasn't a government agency. 2 states, one of them being Michigan. General Motors is still the top dog. And actually, I apologize, 3 states. Michigan with General Motors. By the way, for those of you that would like to know, I want to say that General Motors was somewhere, and I thought they gave me the number. They don't. General Motors is the top employer there. Nevada, the MGM Resort is the top employer. By the way, 55,000 people work at the MGM. Right? We know some of those jobs are good jobs, but most of them, right, not great jobs. Washington. Boeing is the top employer. After those 3 states, the next top employer was either the university system or a health care provider. One other state had something other than that, by the way. Colorado. The largest employer in Colorado is the Denver airport. And I single them out. They're I don't know. There's a handful of health care and a handful of education. But the number one employer, and I'll break it down to you. 5 with the other, right? So Denver International Airport, MGM, Boeing, General Motors. 8 states, it's the university system, right, which is really government. 16 states, healthcare is the largest employer. Arizona, as an example, Banner Health. Right now, remember, right, all the healthcare companies have all they're now just these massive entities. In the other 21 states, they all have the same largest employer that isn't a state or federal government agency or the military. Wallmart, number 1. Number 1 in Texas, number 1 in Florida, number 1 in Georgia, number 1 in Illinois, Arkansas, Ohio, Virginia, Missouri, Tennessee, Indiana, Alabama, Louisiana, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Kentucky, Mississippi, Kansas, West Virginia, New Hampshire, Montana, Wyoming. The largest employer in almost half of the United States is Walmart. This is the great American economy. You either work for the government, you change people's bedpans, you work in the university system, which, let's face it, not all, but most of the university system really an arm of the government to begin with. Or you get to bag groceries and greet people at Walmart. I mean, that's it. That's the great jobs numbers. And you sit there and you think about, really, when you lay it all out, are we surprised by what Tudor Jones said yesterday? 90% of the country. So let me get my calculator out here. 292 million of us only have 23% of the wealth. The next 9% have about 33%, and the last 1% have all the rest. And this is it. This is the greatest economy. This is the best we can do. Walmart is the largest employer in 21 states. You know what I fear? My fear is, and I don't know this, is who's the second largest employer in these states where Walmart wasn't the largest? Right? So in the 29 states where Walmart wasn't the largest, who's second? I wonder how many of those states Walmart finished in second, right? Or finished in third. I mean, this is the economy. And when you think about it, it's astronomical. You know, Walmart employs 170,000 people in Texas, over 110,000 people in Florida. I mean, this is the great economy. This is what's driving the world. Maybe this shouldn't come as a surprise then. I'm trying to see, do I got time? Yeah, I got time. We'll talk about the record we set after the break. Yesterday, I made reference to, and I'm just trying to find it here. I apologize. To a new growing trend in America. Married people now living with roommates. Married people living with roommates, right? I said that, we used to call those communes. Now they say that it's a lifestyle choice. According to the latest research, there is a growing trend coming out of millennials where they can't afford to live on their own, but they're too old to really be living with mommy and daddy. And they're seeing an explosion of married couples now living with roommates because they need to reduce cost in all of these very expensive cities, right? And they're talking about living in Seattle, living in California. I'm going to tell you right now, Phoenix used to be such a cheap place to live. Colorado used to be such a cheap place to live. Now just a crappy apartment costs $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. I guess we're turning into the commune society. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily broadcast from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, a national volunteer organization founded by Phyllis Schlafly and continuing to uphold her legacy by honoring family values, opposing radical feminism, and representing a conservative perspective in our nation's capital. Now, the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
Life in the deep state took another dark turn last December at the sentencing of Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn that did not happen. Instead of a sentencing, Flynn was asked if he had committed treason, which is something not even the partisan Mueller prosecutors ever considered charging him with. This story would be suitable for Alice in Wonderland if it did not involve an injustice inflicted on an honorable man who risked his life for our nation. Rather than being able to celebrate Christmas by putting this travesty behind him, Lieutenant General Flynn is left wondering how his lifelong patriotism was called into question. Entrapment and an unconstitutional independent prosecutor are how the injustice against Lieutenant General Flynn continues. He was ambushed by an interview that never should have occurred, misled into not having counsel present, and then left helpless against Mueller's $50 million wrecking machine. A mere 4 days after the inauguration of President Trump, then FBI Director James Comey sent senior agents to ambush General Flynn with a surprise interview. Comey admits that this was not ordinary procedure and that proper protocol is to arrange such interviews through attorneys. It was a setup of General Flynn, with the since-discredited agents of Deep State Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok playing their part. Both have since been fired, but as Shakespeare observed, the evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. The FBI already knew the answers to the questions it asked General Flynn during that fateful interview in January 2017 due to its secret wiretaps of his conversations. But entrapment may have been the goal of that deep state, the term we use for the entrenched intelligentsia in D.C. that continued to oppose President Trump after his election by the American people. We are more than 2 years past the presidential campaign of 2016, and there is now no plausible justification for Mueller to conceal so much information in his filings from the public that is footing the bill. With no end in sight for Mueller's probe, there should at least be some transparency.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report with Ed Martin, president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. And we think it's time to take Washington back from the power brokers. At phyllisschlafly.com, we're organizing a grassroots movement to stand against the deep state bureaucrats who control government. For the latest strategies, go to phyllisschlafly.com. That's phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again next time for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. Gold's up 4-13-13. Today, and I wish I had what we had yesterday. We just don't. But it's another great deal. We have, 40-ish, and really 35 to 40. And unfortunately, that's kind of how, and it's funny. Well, how do you not know exactly how many you have? And the reason is very simple. Because they said, listen, this is it. They just got, things have gotten so busy. People they don't have time to count it all. So they just said, listen, here's how many you can sell, and we'll figure it out. So 35 to 40. Mint State 61s and 62s. I will confirm this. 20 of them are 62. So and when you're buying them, here's how it's going to work. The first 20 we sell are all going to be 62s. Everything after that is going to be a 61 or a 62 because they didn't know exactly how many. $1,415 for Mint State 62s/61s. That is and I will say this. I've got our $20. I don't even know if they're libs or saints. They wouldn't even give us that. Take them. Don't wait. Listen, gold's going to run away from us here real quick. You can just feel it. Right? China's back to buy-in. You want more motivation? Barrick Gold was out with earnings today. And if I get to it, I will. This is why you don't buy mining companies. Gold production for Barrick down 6% year over year. 6%. This is everywhere. Now with China in the Malaysia, China's back buying gold again. Now we're going to have gold deficits already as it is. We need 25% of the gold market is scrap right now, which tells you how tight this market is. Mine supply is falling. Scrap, that's a huge supply, which is probably dissipating. Just the economics 101 side of things, great value. This is going to be, and I just got a new price sheet now from our guys. This is going to be cheaper than our regular 20s. Now, regular 20s, after I get off the air here, are going to be $14.25 again. And we're just here at $14.25, right around this price again, a week and a half ago. So you got MS 62s, I'll say /61s, $1,450. I can guarantee the first 20 to be 62s. The next 15 to 20 are going to be 61s or 62s. But it doesn't matter. What great value. 800-951-0592. I want to share a few stories about these communes now. Because, we don't live. And again, as I said, Arizona's gotten expensive. It's not California. They're talking about cities like Honolulu, Orange County, San Francisco, L.A., San Diego, Seattle. Sky-high rates now of married couples living with roommates. Truly a noting that housing costs in these markets have risen 30% since 2009. The Federal Reserve today told us that inflation fell. Yeah. Inflation's back below 2%, everybody. Apparently, they didn't get this memo. 30%. And here's the problem, as everybody knows, what's the biggest expense? Arlene, what's the biggest expense in your household? Rent, the mortgage payment, and they're up 30% in 10 years. So it actually makes it an even bigger piece of the problem. They said in San Francisco, and what a cesspool that is, by the way, just to be at the, quasi-lower middle class, you need to make $125,000. But I wanted to share a story because it really was interesting. They're talking about Logan Alec, 30 years old from Santa Clarita, California. Him and his wife got a roommate. They had an extra bedroom upstairs with its own bathroom and charged $850 a month. And it was a nice chunk of change, right? And they say, same thing. Hey, we're starting out. We got student loans. Then they talk about Stephanie. She didn't want to use her last name. Stephanie's 28. She's a PR professional who asked that we withheld her last name, was only able to afford to move to San Francisco in 2017 because a married couple offered her a rent-controlled room in their apartment. Yeah, not an apartment. And that it's such a great deal that she's still living there today, 2 years later, even though the couple now has a 6-month-old baby living in the room next door. It's a great 3 a.m. alarm, she joked. Even so, she says she's likely to stay put. Not only because she likes the couple. Oh, yeah, I love it. Why not? Yeah, I'm 28 years old. Right? And I live with a married couple and their baby in this apartment because it's the only thing she can afford. There are almost no options that are less than $2,000 a month per person. And I'm still trying to pay off my student loans. Listen, it's happening. They don't want to tell you about it, but this is how it's getting done. Because these prices, it's unaffordable. Speaking of which, and I've been telling you this, right? It's so hard. What's real? A record 7 million Americans are now 90 days or more behind on their auto loan payments, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. What, we got this great economy? I'm going to talk more about that when we get back. 800-951-0592. The Dow's losing steam here. I don't know. I haven't checked why. Was up almost 200 points. Now it's trying to stay in positive territory. I'll try to look it up here in the next segment. $20 Mint State 62/61s. $1,415. I mean, that's pretty much $100 over spot. I mean, it's just a great opportunity to get into the market. No question as to what you own. These are something our competitors out there. These are $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 coins. I did an order yesterday with a lady from Castle Rock. Yeah, so Colorado, we're getting all the way back down to Castle Rock now. She was talking about how she had called several different people. And she said one dealer in particular was trying to get her to buy quarter-ounce Canadian gold coins, and I think it was like a wolf or a polar bear or something like that. And they wanted $549 a piece for them. And she was smart enough to say, hey, wait a minute, I know how to do math. That's $2,200 an ounce. And they try to tell her some ridiculous story about how these are going to be worth way more than anything else. They're not. But this is why you do business with us. Listen, remember our rules. Buy as much as you can, as cheap as you can. Right? Always try to be the closest to the spot as you can. And be able to stay private. Right? And remember, at some point, somebody, whether it's you, your kids, your grandkids, right, someone's going to want to sell these things as well. So make sure you're buying the right coins. That's what we do. And today, to buy slabbed gold this cheap, that's a great opportunity at $1,415, 800-951-0592. And listen, I'm confused. I look at real data, and then I hear the fake data. I don't want to say fake. I'll call it the educated data, right? Because they always have a reason why it is they need to adjust the numbers, right? Whether you call them seasonally adjusted or whatever you want to give. Let's take a number that is real, and then we will educate it into a number that isn't. Right? Today, if you want, here's what you need to believe today. That things cost less today. Yeah. Yep, that inflation actually went down from December to January. That's what they told you. Nonsense. Listen, I'm only 48 years old. Nothing's ever gone down. I mean, people say, a Macintosh got cheaper. Okay. A VCR's cheaper, a microwave, right? Yeah, I get that. But I'm talking about things that live day to day. Right? You need a roof over your head. You need food, water, electricity, right? These things don't go down. You know what else you need? A car. It's impossible. Well, I shouldn't say impossible. But almost impossible and I've been to Colorado, here in Phoenix. You can't live here without a car. Just can't do it. Right? Maybe they're lucky if, I work for the apartment complex I live in. Okay, then maybe you could. And if you don't mind hoofing it to the store and things like that, you need a car. And the Federal Reserve Bank of New York released, not even through through their blog. Oh, hey, by the way, if anyone, I don't want to put this out on TV. We broke a record for a number of Americans 90 days or more past due on their car. Remember the Great Recession? It's worse today than it was then. Economists warn this is a red flag. You think? Despite the strong economy and low unemployment rate, many Americans are struggling to pay their bills. I already told you, credit card delinquency's up, auto loan delinquency's now at a record. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong here. Everything's great. Just ask the stock market, they'll tell you. The substantial and growing number of distressed borrowers suggests not all Americans have benefited from the strong labor market, economist at the New York Federal Reserve wrote in a blog post. Wow. What college did you graduate from to write that thing, Einstein? Right? Maybe you ought to look at, maybe the fake data we've been pulling out is a bunch of horse hockey. I don't even know if that's a word. A car loan is typically the first payment people make because it is critical to get to work. And you can live in your car if all else fails. When car loan delinquency rises, it's a sign of significant duress among the low-income and working-class Americans. So I guess that's the 292 million of us, right? Because we're the ones that don't have any money. Your car loan is the number one priority in terms of payment, according to Fitch. Don't worry. I don't see a problem here. Everything's fine. These guys are just waiting. They're going to catch right back up. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Eight 800-951-0592. Listen. I don't know what to tell you. Get ready, prepare, don't prepare. That's on you. These are real numbers. The New York Federal Reserve now says there are 1 million more troubled borrowers in the auto loan department than there was in 2010 when the unemployment rate, they said, hit 10%. And now they say it's 4%. But you know what? That's a factor. But you really want to know the best reason why I think all of us need to buy more gold today? Is because California just set a record for the percentage of residents that now say they want to leave the state of California. Get ready. Listen, I want a border fence between the United States and Mexico, and can we just have it, head a little north between Arizona and California, please? According to the latest survey, 53% of Californians surveyed now say they are considering fleeing the state of California. Why? Because it costs too damn much. That's why. Costs have gotten way ahead of incomes in California. Listen, California by itself, I don't even know what number it is. 7th or 8th largest economy in the world by itself, and over half of the people there want to get out. They can't afford to live. Well, remember, it goes with the commune story. Hey, we're married, just got a baby, and a stranger lives in the bedroom next door. Well, next door, across the hall. Hey, honey, I think our roommate just saw me naked. Sorry about that. I don't know how that works. According to the survey, 53% of Californians want to leave. 63% of them are millennials. 60% of the people surveyed cited housing cost as the primary factor. Hey, guess what? I don't want to live in my car, and I don't want to live with a married couple and their 6-month-old baby either. But don't worry, all this is fine. We got a great economy, and what could possibly go wrong? And the deficit's only $22 trillion, and all the central banks around the world are bringing all their gold home, or they're buying it out from wherever they can get their hands on it. It'll be fine. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. Those Mint State 61 and 62 $20 gold pieces. I'm not even sure what they are. They could be libs. They could be saints. It doesn't matter. $1,415 at 800-951-0592. The Dow's up about 75 points. The gold's up, like I said, $3-4 here, $1,315 in change. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? I don't even know. But don't worry, the CPI from the Federal Reserve says there's no inflation. Don't tell that to California, though. Patriot Radio News Hour. Everyone enjoy the rest of your day.